The great hall of the Galactic Assembly was louder than usual. Thousands of voices echoed under the high glowing ceiling. Creatures of every shape and size filled the chamber. Some were tall and thin, with shining skin. Others were small, covered in fur or scales. Floating beings hovered in quiet groups, while mechanical minds hummed softly in their assigned places. At the center of the hall stood a massive circular table. Around it were seats, each one marked for a powerful species of the galaxy. All seats were filled. All except one. It was an old chair. Simple, dark, unmarked, and empty. Most beings did not even look at it anymore. It had been empty for so long that it became part of the room, like a shadow no one noticed. But not everyone ignored it. Near the outer ring of the hall, a young historian sat quietly. His name was Arun. He was not important. He had no power, no strong voice. He only watched and learned. And today, his eyes stayed on that empty chair. He had seen it before, many times. But something felt different now. "Why is that seat still here?" he asked softly. The older scholar beside him gave a tired look. "Because no one removed it." "But why not?" Arun asked again. "Every other empty seat is replaced when a species falls or leaves." The older one shook his head. "No one knows. That seat has always been there." Arun frowned. "That makes no sense." "Most old things do not," the scholar replied, then turned away. But Arun could not look away. The chair felt wrong. It was not broken, not damaged, just empty, waiting. As the assembly meeting began, leaders spoke about trade, war, and power. Nothing unusual, nothing new. The galaxy was always busy with its own problems. Arun tried to listen, but his thoughts kept returning to that seat. After the meeting ended, the hall slowly cleared. Voices faded. Lights dimmed. Arun stayed. He stood up and walked closer to the center. No one stopped him. No one cared. When he reached the empty chair, he hesitated. Up close, it looked even stranger. It had no symbol, no name, no design to show which species it belonged to. Just a plain surface. Arun reached out and touched it. The metal was cold, but not dusty. That made him pause. If no one used it, why was it clean? He pulled his hand back quickly, as if he had done something wrong. "This seat," he whispered. "Someone owned it." A quiet voice answered behind him. Of course it was owned. Arun turned quickly. A tall figure stood in the shadows. An archivist, one of the keepers of ancient records. "You are curious," the archivist said. Arun nodded. "Yes." "This seat, who does it belong to?" The archivist was silent for a long moment. "Do you know how old this assembly is?" the archivist asked. "Thousands of cycles," Arun replied. "Correct. And this seat has been here since the beginning." Arun's eyes widened. "Then why is there no record?" "That is the problem," the archivist said quietly. "There should be." Arun felt a chill. "You mean it was erased?" The archivist looked at the chair. "Not erased. Forgotten." "That is impossible," Arun said. "Records cannot just disappear." The archivist slowly turned his head. "They can if someone wanted them to." Arun's heart began to beat faster. "Who would do that?" he asked. The archivist did not answer directly. Instead, he said, "Long ago there were stories, old warnings, about a species that did not follow the rules of the galaxy." Arun leaned forward slightly. "What kind of species?" "One that did not bow," the archivist said. Silence filled the space between them. Arun looked back at the empty chair. "Are you saying this seat belonged to them?" The archivist closed his eyes for a moment. "I do not know. No one does. That is the truth." "But something is wrong," Arun insisted. "You feel it too, don't you?" The archivist slowly nodded. "Yes," he said. "For a long time, nothing has changed. But now something is waking." Arun swallowed. "What do you mean?" Before the archivist could answer, a loud sound echoed through the hall. A sharp tone, an alert. Both of them turned toward the main display above the chamber. A message flashed across the screen. "Unknown signal detected." The entire assembly system was activating again. Lights came back on. Voices returned as leaders rushed into the hall. Arun stepped back, eyes wide. An unknown signal, he said. From where? The archivist looked up at the screen, his face serious.
From deep space, he said.
Beyond known systems. Another message appeared. Signal pattern. Non-recognized. Translation. In progress. The room grew silent as everyone waited. Then, suddenly, the translation completed. 3 simple words appeared on the screen. We are here. A wave of shock moved through the assembly. Arun slowly turned his head toward the empty chair. For the first time, it did not feel forgotten. It felt claimed. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, someone had just returned. The message changed everything. The great hall of the Galactic Assembly, once full of noise and pride, was now heavy with silence. The words, "We are here," still glowed on the main screen. No one spoke for a long time. Then, slowly, the voices returned, but not with confidence. With fear. What does it mean? Who sent it? From where? Leaders argued. Some demanded answers. Others called for defense fleets. A few simply stayed quiet, watching the screen like it might speak again. Arun stood near the edge of the chamber, his heart still racing. He looked once more at the empty chair in the center. It did not feel empty anymore. It felt like a warning. He turned quickly and hurried out of the hall. There was only one place he needed to go. The archives. The archive halls were deep beneath the assembly. Long corridors stretched in every direction, filled with old data cores, ancient scrolls, and forgotten machines. It was quiet there. Too quiet. Arun moved fast, his steps echoing softly. He reached the main archive chamber, where the same archivist from before was already waiting. You came, the archivist said without turning. You knew I would, Arun replied. The archivist nodded slowly. The signal has shaken everyone. But for some of us it has awakened old questions. Arun stepped closer. You said there were stories. About a species that didn't bow. Yes, the archivist said. Stories no one wanted to remember. I want to see them, Arun said firmly. The archivist paused. Then, without another word, he walked to a sealed section of the archive wall. He placed his hand on a hidden panel. A soft light scanned his palm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low sound, a section of the wall opened. Behind it was a small, dark chamber. Restricted records, the archivist said quietly. Even most leaders do not know this exists. Arun felt a chill as he stepped inside. The room was filled with old data units, far older than anything in the main archive. Some were damaged. Others flickered with weak light. This data is incomplete, the archivist warned. Much of it was corrupted or removed. Removed by who? Arun asked. The archivist gave a small, uneasy smile. That is the question no one can answer. He activated one of the data units. A dim projection appeared in the air. Broken images flashed, stars, ships, and strange symbols. Then, a word appeared. Humanity. Arun leaned forward. Humans. Yes, the archivist said. That is the name found in the fragments. Are they still alive? Arun asked. No record confirms their end, the archivist replied. That is what makes this dangerous. The projection shifted again. A shape appeared, large, sharp, and unlike any modern ship design. Arun stared at it. That ship, it looks powerful. It was, the archivist said. According to what little remains, human technology was different. Not just strong, but unpredictable. Another fragment loaded. This one showed multiple fleets, different species, moving together. A coalition, Arun said. Yes, the archivist replied. Many species united. To fight humans? Arun asked. The archivist nodded. Arun felt his chest tighten. Then what happened? The projection flickered. The battle data was incomplete. Most of it was missing. But one line remained, clear and untouched. Result, unknown. Arun blinked. Unknown? That's impossible. A war that big. There should be a result. There was, the archivist said softly. But it is gone. Erased again? Arun asked. Not erased, the archivist said. Hidden very well. Arun stepped back, trying to understand. So let me get this straight, he said. There was a powerful species called humans.
They fought the galaxy.
Then everything about them disappeared. Yes, the archivist said. And now, Arun continued slowly, we receive a signal from deep space saying, we are here. The archivist looked directly at him. Yes. Silence filled the room. Arun looked back at the projection. Why would anyone hide this? He asked. If humans were defeated, the galaxy would celebrate it. If they won, the galaxy would fear them. The archivist crossed his arms. Or, he said quietly, both things are true in different ways. Arun frowned. What does that mean? Before the archivist could answer, an alarm sounded through the archive halls. A loud, sharp tone. Both of them turned. What now? Arun said. The archivist activated a nearby console. A new message appeared. Multiple signals detected. Source. Same origin. Arun's eyes widened. More signals? Yes, the archivist said. And stronger. The screen updated again. Trajectory. Moving toward known space. Arun felt his breath slow. They're coming, he whispered. The archivist did not reply. He simply stared at the screen. Then, slowly, he said something that made Arun's blood run cold. The galaxy did not forget them by accident. Arun turned sharply. Then why? The archivist looked back at the old projection of the human ship. Because, he said, someone wanted everyone to stop looking. Arun swallowed hard. Outside, across the stars, the signals grew louder, closer, and for the first time in thousands of cycles, the past was no longer silent. The signals did not stop. They grew stronger. Across the galaxy, communication systems began to shake under the pressure of the unknown transmission. It was not just one signal anymore. It was many, layered, repeating, spreading like a wave through space. Every system, every station, every fleet received it, and no one could block it. Inside the Galactic Assembly, fear had replaced order. Leaders rushed back into the Great Hall. Voices were louder now, filled with panic. Shut it down. Block the signal. Trace its origin. But nothing worked. The signal was too powerful, too advanced. It moved through every known frequency, changing patterns before anyone could react. Arun stood near the edge of the hall again, watching everything unfold. His hands felt cold. Above him, the main screen flickered again. Signal expanding. Translation updated. The room fell silent. Everyone looked up. The same 3 words appeared again. We are here. But this time, something was different. The message did not disappear. It stayed. Then slowly, more words began to form. Not fast. Not rushed.
Calm.
Controlled. We are watching. A wave of fear spread through the hall. Some leaders stepped back. Others called for emergency defense. Arun felt his heart beating faster. They're not just sending a message, he whispered. They're speaking. Deep in the control center, teams worked without rest. Translation is still incomplete, one operator shouted. This language doesn't match anything, another said. It's like, a third paused, confused. It's like it's adjusting to us. That was the most terrifying part. The signal was learning. Back in the archive chamber, Arun and the archivist stood before the old data projection. This confirms it, Arun said. It has to be them. Humans. The archivist nodded slowly.
Yes.
No other explanation fits. But why now? Arun asked. Why come back after all this time? The archivist looked at the damaged records. Maybe they never left, he said quietly. Arun frowned. That doesn't make sense. We would have seen them. Would we? The archivist replied. If they were powerful enough to hide from the entire galaxy once, they could do it again. Arun did not answer, because deep down he knew it was possible. Another alarm echoed through the assembly, stronger this time. Arun and the archivist rushed back to the main hall. The scene had changed again. The large central screen was now filled with moving patterns, strange symbols shifting and forming shapes. Visual data incoming, someone shouted. From the signal? Another asked. Yes. The symbols suddenly stopped. Then, for the first time, an image appeared. The entire hall froze.
It was a star system. Bright. Clear.
Detailed. Arun stepped closer. That system, he said slowly. I've seen it before. The archivist moved beside him. Yes, he said. You have. Arun's eyes widened. Sol, he whispered. The human home system. The image zoomed in. Past the outer planets. Closer. Closer. Until a blue and green world filled the screen. Earth. But it was not broken. Not dead. Not empty. It was alive. Gasps spread across the hall. That's impossible. It should be gone. No life signs were ever detected, but the image showed something else. Ships. Hundreds of them. No, thousands. Massive structures floated around the planet. Fleets larger than anything the galaxy had ever built. And they were hidden. Until now. Arun felt like he could not breathe. They were there the whole time, he said. The archivist's voice was low. Watching. The image shifted again. Now it showed movement. Human ships leaving orbit. Slow at first. Then faster. Forming lines. Organized. Prepared. They're mobilizing, a commander shouted. All fleets on alert. Panic spread again. Some leaders called for immediate attack. Others demanded retreat. But no one agreed. Because no one understood what they were facing. Then the signal changed again. The image faded. The words returned. But now, the message was longer, clearer, and far more direct. You forgot US. Silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The message continued. We did not forget you. Arun's hands clenched. It felt personal, like the words were not just for the assembly, but for everyone. The final line appeared slowly, as if it was meant to be remembered. This time, we will not disappear. The screen went dark. The signal stopped. Just like that.
Gone.
For a moment, the entire galaxy felt quiet. Too quiet. Then the noise returned.
Fear.
Confusion. Arguments. But none of it mattered anymore. Because the truth was clear. Arun looked once more at the empty chair in the center of the hall. This time, he did not see it as empty. He saw it as waiting. Far beyond the assembly, in the depths of space, the human fleets moved forward. Not in anger, not in chaos, but with calm purpose. And for the first time in countless cycles, the galaxy was no longer alone. The galaxy did not wait. After the signal ended, the galactic assembly moved quickly. Fear had turned into action. Orders were given. Fleets were prepared. No one wanted to admit it, but they all felt the same thing. They were afraid. In the Great Hall, leaders stood in heated groups, arguing over what to do next. We must strike first. No. We need to understand them. They are already moving toward us. They said they were watching. How long has this been happening? Voices rose again, louder and sharper. At the center of it all, a final decision was made. A coalition fleet would be sent, not to attack. Not yet, but to see the truth with their own eyes. Arun stood quietly as the orders were announced. His mind was still fixed on the image of Earth, alive, strong, and surrounded by ships. They hid for so long, he said softly. The archivist beside him nodded. And they chose this moment to reveal themselves. Why now? Arun asked again. The archivist looked at the empty chair. Maybe, he said slowly, because they believe the galaxy is ready. Arun was not sure if that made him feel better or worse. The coalition fleet gathered at the edge of known space. It was one of the largest fleets ever assembled. Ships from many species stood side by side. Some were sleek and fast. Others were heavy and armored. All of them were ready, but none of them knew what they would face. Inside one of the command ships, the fleet leaders prepared for the jump. Coordinates locked, an officer said. Destination. Sol system. The room went quiet. That name felt heavy, ancient, dangerous. Begin jump, the commander ordered. In a flash of light, the fleet vanished. Moments later, they reappeared. At the edge of the Sol system. Everything was still.
Too still.
No signals. No movement. No ships. Scanners? The commander asked. Nothing detected, the officer replied. No fleets. No structures. The system appears empty. Murmurs spread across the command deck. That's not possible. We saw the image. Are they hiding again? Far away, back in the assembly, Arun watched the live feed with wide eyes.
They were there, he said.
We all saw them. The archivist frowned.
Yes.
Which means they're hiding, Arun finished. Back in the Sol system, the fleet moved slowly forward, past the outer planets. Still nothing. The silence grew heavier with every moment. This feels wrong, one pilot whispered. Stay focused, the commander said. Continue forward. As they moved deeper into the system, the blue planet came into view.
Earth.
It looked peaceful.
Calm.
Like nothing had ever happened. Any life signs? The commander asked. Yes, the officer replied. Strong readings across the planet. And the fleets? Still nothing. The commander stared at the screen. Prepare closer scan, he ordered. A beam of scanning energy moved toward Earth. For a moment, everything stayed normal. Then,
something changed.
The space around the planet flickered, like a ripple in water. The stars behind it bent and shifted. The commanders froze. What is that? Someone asked. Then the illusion broke. Suddenly, the empty space around Earth filled with shapes. Massive shapes. Ships. Hundreds, no. Thousands of them. They had been there the whole time. Hidden. Watching. Gasps filled the command deck. Cloaking field. No, this is beyond cloaking. It's like they were never there at all. The human fleet surrounded the planet in perfect formation. Silent. Still. Waiting. Back in the assembly, the hall erupted in shock. Arun stepped back, unable to look away. They hid an entire fleet, he whispered. The archivist's voice was low. And not just any fleet. The human ships were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Their designs were sharp and clean. No wasted parts. No extra details. Everything about them felt controlled. Precise. In the Sol system, the Coalition fleet stopped moving. No one gave the order. They simply stopped. Because now they understood one thing clearly. They were not in control. A signal appeared again.
Direct.
Focused. Not broadcast to the galaxy this time. Only to the fleet. The main screen lit up. A single message appeared. You came. The commanders looked at each other. No one spoke. The message changed. Good. A pause. Long enough to make every second feel heavy. Then the final line appeared. Now you will listen. At that moment, one of the human ships moved forward. Slow.
Calm.
No weapons activated. No signs of aggression. But its presence alone was enough to shake the entire fleet. Back in the assembly, Arun stared at the screen. They're not attacking, he said. The archivist nodded. No, he said quietly. They don't need to. The empty chair in the center of the hall stood silent. But now everyone could feel it. It was no longer forgotten. It was waiting for its owner to return. The silence in the Sol system felt heavy. The Coalition fleet remained still, surrounded by human ships that had appeared like ghosts. No weapons were fired. No threats were spoken. Yet every commander felt the same pressure. They were being watched. Closely. Carefully. On the command deck, no one moved without purpose. Every screen showed the same thing. Human ships holding perfect formation around Earth. They're not attacking, one officer whispered. But they're not letting us move either, another replied. The commander stood still, eyes fixed forward. Maintain position. Do not provoke them. No one argued, because deep down, they all understood something important. If the humans wanted to destroy them, they already would have. Back in the Galactic Assembly, the hall was filled again. This time, no one spoke loudly. Even the strongest leaders had gone quiet. Arun stood beside the archivist, both watching the live transmission. They had all that power. Arun said slowly, and they stayed hidden. The archivist nodded. Yes. But why? Arun asked. Why wait for so long? The archivist looked at the screen, then at the empty chair. Because they were learning, he said. In the Sol system, the human ship that had moved forward stopped between the two fleets. It was larger than the others. Not the biggest, but different. Important. A signal came from it again.
Clear. Direct.
You enter our system without permission. The message echoed across every ship in the coalition fleet. The commanders exchanged uneasy looks. Finally, the lead commander responded. This is the Galactic Assembly Fleet. We came in peace. We seek communication. There was a short pause. Then the human signal returned. You always seek control first. Peace comes later. The words were calm,
but sharp.
They carried weight. Back in the assembly, murmurs spread again. They're accusing us. They remember everything. Arun clenched his hands. They've been watching us. The archivist nodded. Every war, every decision, every mistake. In the Sol system, the human ship began sending more data. Not words this time. Images. The coalition screens filled with scenes from across the galaxy. Wars between species. Planets burning. Fleets destroying each other. Leaders arguing while millions suffered. The officers stared in silence. These are our conflicts, one said. How do they have all this? Another asked. The answer came quickly. We watched. The message appeared again.
Simple. Clear.
Arun felt a chill run through him. They saw everything, he whispered. The archivist's face was serious.
Yes.
And they chose not to act. Why not help? Arun asked. Maybe, the archivist said slowly, they wanted to see who we really are. Back in the Sol system, the images continued. Then they changed. Now, the screens showed something older. Faded. Broken. Ancient fleets. Unknown designs. Massive battles. The coalition commanders leaned forward. What is this? One asked. The answer came. Before you forgot. The images sharpened. Now it was clear. Different species, many of the same ones now in the coalition fleet, were fighting together. Against one enemy. Human ships. A deep silence filled the command deck. That's, one officer hesitated. That's us. Yes, the commander said quietly. The next image showed destruction. Not chaos. Not uncontrolled war. But something precise. Controlled. Human ships disabling entire fleets without destroying them. Cutting power. Breaking systems. Ending battles in moments. They didn't wipe us out, an officer said. They could have, another replied. The final image faded. Then the message returned. We won. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Unavoidable. Back in the assembly, no one spoke. Arun slowly turned to the archivist. You were right, he said. They didn't lose. The archivist nodded. No, he said. They chose to leave. In the Sol system, the human ship sent one final message. We left because you are not ready. The coalition commanders stood still, listening, waiting. The message continued. We see you now. You have not changed. Those words hit harder than any weapon. Arun felt his chest tighten. They're judging us, he said. The archivist did not look away from the screen. Yes, he replied. And deciding what to do next. Back in space, the human fleet remained silent. Perfectly still. Perfectly controlled. They did not rush. They did not threaten. They simply watched. And that was the most terrifying part. Because the galaxy finally understood something it had forgotten long ago. Humanity was never weak. Never gone. Never lost. They were waiting, watching, learning. And now, they had decided to return. The silence in the Sol system did not last forever. After the last message, both fleets remained still. No one moved. No one spoke. Time felt slow, heavy, and uncertain. The coalition commanders waited for the next signal. It came, but not the way they expected. A single human ship began to move again. Slowly, calmly. It left the formation and drifted closer to the coalition fleet. No weapons powered up. No shields raised. Just a quiet approach. Track that ship, the commander ordered. Tracking, an officer replied. No signs of attack systems. That means nothing, another officer said nervously. But still no one fired. Back in the Galactic Assembly, the hall was completely silent. Every eye was fixed on the live feed. Arun stood near the front now, closer than before. Even the most powerful leaders had stepped aside. No one wanted to miss what would happen next. "They're coming closer," Arun said quietly. The archivist nodded.
Yes.
"This is it." "First contact," Arun whispered. The archivist shook his head slightly. "No," he said. "This is not the first." In the Sol system, the human ship stopped at a safe distance. Then, suddenly, a new signal appeared. Different from before. More focused. More personal. One representative. The coalition commanders looked at each other. "What does that mean?" one asked. "They want a meeting," the lead commander said. The message came again. "Send one. No weapons." Tension filled the command deck. "This could be a trap," an officer warned. "Or a test," another said. The commander stayed quiet for a moment. Then he made a decision. "I will go," he said. Back in the assembly, murmurs spread. "They can't trust them. This is too dangerous." But Arun did not speak. He watched, because something about the humans felt different. Not hostile, but not friendly either. In the Sol system, a small shuttle left the coalition flagship. It moved slowly toward the human vessel. Every sensor tracked it. Every weapon system stayed ready just in case. As the shuttle approached, the human ship opened a section of its outer hull. A docking path.
Clear.
"Simple. They're letting him in," an officer whispered. The shuttle entered. Then the connection closed behind it. For a moment, there was nothing. No signal. No sound. Inside the human ship, the commander stepped out carefully. The air was stable. The gravity normal. Everything felt controlled. A soft light guided him forward. No guards. No weapons. Just a quiet path. He walked slowly, his steps echoing in the clean, empty corridor. The walls were smooth, simple, and without decoration. Everything looked efficient. Nothing wasted. At the end of the corridor, a door opened. The commander stepped inside.
And stopped.
A single figure stood in the center of the room.
Human.
For the first time in countless cycles, a human stood face to face with another species. Back in the assembly, the entire hall leaned forward. Arun felt his breath stop. He whispered. "That's a human." The archivist nodded slowly. "Yes." The human figure stood still.
Calm.
No fear. No aggression. "Welcome," the human said. The voice was steady.
Clear.
The commander hesitated for a moment. Then he spoke. "I come on behalf of the Galactic Assembly." The human tilted their head slightly.
"We know," they said.
Silence filled the room. "You have returned," the commander said. "Why?" The human looked at him carefully. "We never left," they replied. Those words felt heavier in person than they had on the screen. "You hid," the commander said. "Yes," the human answered. "Why?" the commander asked. The human took a slow step forward. Not threatening, just closer. "Because the galaxy was not ready," they said. Back in the assembly, Arun felt the same chill again. The same words. The same meaning. The commander stood still. "And now?" he asked. The human looked directly at him. "Now we are deciding," they said. A long silence followed. "What are you deciding?" the commander asked carefully. The human's expression did not change. "Whether this galaxy deserves our presence," they said. Back in the assembly, shock spread again. Some leaders stood up in anger. "How dare they?" Silence, another shouted. Arun did not move. He understood something others did not. This was not pride. This was truth. In the human ship, the commander took a slow breath. "You speak as if you are above us," he said. The humans shook their heads slightly.
"No," they said.
"We speak as equals." The commander frowned. "That does not sound like equality." The human's voice remained calm. "Equality requires respect," they said. "And respect was removed when you forgot us." The words cut deep. Back in the assembly, no one spoke now. Because they knew it was true. In the quiet room aboard the human ship, the commander asked one final question. "What do you want?" The human did not answer immediately. They looked at him for a long moment. Then they spoke. "We want our place back." The message was simple.
Clear.
Unshakable. Far away, in the center of the assembly hall, the empty chair waited. Not forgotten anymore.
Claimed.
The words spread across the galaxy faster than any signal. We want our place back. No one could ignore them. Not anymore. Inside the Galactic Assembly, the atmosphere had changed completely. There was no more confusion. No more doubt. Now there was fear. And something else. Memory. Arun stood in the archive chamber again, his eyes fixed on the old data units. The meeting between the human and the commander was still being replayed in every system. They're not asking, Arun said quietly. They're telling. The archivist nodded.
Yes.
Because they know they can. Arun looked back at the damaged records. We need to know everything, he said. Not fragments. Not guesses. The full truth. The archivist took a deep breath. That truth was buried for a reason, he said. Then it's time to uncover it, Arun replied. The archivist walked to the deepest section of the hidden chamber. This time, he did not hesitate. He activated a locked core, older than all the others. Dust fell from its surface as it powered on. A faint light filled the room. Last record, the archivist said softly. The one no one was meant to see again. Arun stepped closer. The projection flickered to life. At first, it showed peace.
Different species trading.
Working together. Building the early structure of the Galactic Assembly. This was before the war, the archivist explained. It looks stable, Arun said. It was, the archivist replied. Until humanity arrived. The image changed. New ships entered the scene. Human ships. Simple in design, but moving with perfect control. They weren't attacking, Arun said. No, the archivist agreed. They came as equals. Just like now. The next images showed humans joining the assembly. Taking a seat. That same seat. Arun stared at it. The empty chair, he whispered. Yes, the archivist said. It was never empty. It was theirs. The projection shifted again. Time passed quickly. At first, everything seemed fine. Then small conflicts began. Arguments. Disagreements. Power struggles. The galaxy was growing, the archivist said. And so was its greed. Arun watched closely. The other species started to form groups. Alliances. Not for peace, but for control. What about the humans? Arun asked. They stayed out of it, the archivist replied. They warned others. Tried to keep balance. The next scene showed a meeting. Humans speaking calmly. Other leaders arguing loudly. No one listening. They ignored them, Arun said. Yes, the archivist said. Until it was too late. The projection darkened. Then came the war. Massive fleets filled the screen. Dozens of species united. Weapons charged. Shields raised. Against one enemy. Humanity. Arun stepped back in shock. They all attacked humans? Yes, the archivist said. They feared what they did not control. The battle began. But it was not what Arun expected. Human ships did not rush forward. They did not scatter. They moved in perfect lines.
Precise. Calm.
They're not fighting like the others, Arun said. They never did, the archivist replied. The next moments were fast, but clear. Human ships disabled entire fleets in seconds. Not destroyed. Disabled. Weapons shut down. Engines failed. Systems collapsed. They could have destroyed them, Arun whispered. Yes, the archivist said. But they didn't. Scene after scene showed the same result. Coalition forces falling. Human forces untouched. They won, Arun said slowly. Completely, the archivist confirmed. The final battle appeared. The last stand of the coalition. Every major species. All together. Against humanity. Arun held his breath. The battle ended quickly. Too quickly. The screen went silent. Then one final message appeared in the old record. War ended. Arun frowned. That's it. The archivist nodded. That's all that remains. But what happened after? Arun asked. The projection flickered again. One last fragment appeared. Broken. Incomplete. A human message. We will not rule you. Arun's eyes widened. They didn't take control. No, the archivist said. They chose not to. Another fragment followed, even more damaged. You are not ready. The image cut out. The room went dark. Arun stood in silence, trying to understand. They won the war, he said. And then they left. Yes, the archivist said. Why? Arun asked. The archivist looked at him. Because ruling a broken system is not victory, he said. Arun slowly looked back at the empty space where the projection had been. They erased everything after that, he said. Yes, the archivist replied. The defeated did not want to remember. And the winners? Arun asked. The archivist's voice was quiet. They allowed it. Silence filled the room. Back in the assembly hall, the leaders were still arguing. Some wanted to accept humanity. Others wanted to fight. But now, the truth was clear. Arun stepped out of the archive chamber. His mind was heavy, but focused. They didn't lose, he said. No, the archivist replied. They walked away. Yes. Arun looked toward the great hall, toward the empty chair. It was never empty, he said. Far away in the Sol system, human fleets continued to move. Not as conquerors, not as invaders, but as something far more dangerous. A power that had already proven itself and chose to return. The truth did not bring peace. It made everything worse. Across the galaxy, the story of the forgotten war spread fast. Old records were reopened. Hidden data was shared. The name humanity was no longer a myth. It was real, and it was back. Inside the Galactic Assembly, the leaders were divided. Some stood in silence, shaken by what they had learned. Others were angry,
Loud.
afraid. We cannot trust them, one leader shouted. They defeated us once, another added. And now they return with even more power. But not everyone agreed. They did not destroy us when they could, a calmer voice said. They left, another added. That means something. Or, it means they are waiting to finish what they started, someone argued. The hall filled with noise again. Fear had turned into tension. Arun stood at the edge, watching it all. They still don't understand, he said quietly. The archivist stood beside him. Fear makes understanding difficult, he replied. Arun crossed his arms. Humans said we didn't change. The archivist nodded. And right now they are correct. Far away in the Sol system, the human fleets continued to move.
Slow.
Organized.
Precise.
They did not rush toward the galaxy. They did not attack. But they did not hide anymore either. Instead, they spread out. Small groups of ships moved to different edges of known space. Watching. Waiting. They're positioning themselves, a coalition officer said. For what? Another asked. No one had a clear answer. Back in the assembly, a decision was forming. Not everyone trusted humanity's calm behavior. Some saw it as a threat, a hidden plan. A powerful faction stepped forward. They had lost much in the old war, and they had not forgotten. We must act now, their leader said, before they grow stronger. They are already stronger, someone replied. Then we strike before they decide to strike us, the leader said firmly. The room grew tense. Arun felt something was wrong. This will only make things worse, he said. The archivist nodded.
Yes.
But fear rarely chooses the wise path. Despite warnings, the faction prepared a fleet. Quietly, secretly. Their target was not Earth, not the main human fleet. It was a small human outpost at the edge of known space. A testing ground. A place with only a few ships. They think it will be easy, Arun said when he learned of it. They think they can win a small victory, the archivist added. Arun shook his head. They didn't learn anything from the past. In deep space, far from the Sol system, the attacking fleet moved into position. Weapons ready. Shields up. Target locked, an officer said. Fire on command, the fleet leader ordered. In front of them, the human outpost floated quietly. A few ships. A small station. No movement. They don't even see us, one pilot said. The leader raised his hand. Attack. A wave of energy burst forward. Weapons fired. Space lit up with power. The human outpost was hit. Back in the assembly, alarms sounded. They've engaged, someone shouted. Arun turned quickly to the screen. No, he whispered. In deep space, the attack continued. More fire. More power.
Then,
Everything stopped. Not slowly. Not gradually. Instantly. The attacking fleet froze. Weapons shut down. Engines failed. Lights flickered. What's happening? An officer shouted. Systems not responding. We're losing control. The human ships moved. Not fast. Not aggressive.
calm.
They spread out around the disabled fleet. Perfect positions. Then a signal appeared. You did not learn. The message echoed through every ship.
Cold. Clear.
Back in the assembly, silence fell again. Arun stared at the screen. They ended it in seconds. The archivist nodded slowly, just like before. In space, the human ships did not fire. They did not destroy. They waited. Another message appeared. We show mercy again. The attacking fleet remained frozen, helpless. Then, slowly, their systems returned. Weapons offline. Engines weak, but alive. They let them go, Arun said. Yes, the archivist replied. Again. The final message appeared before the human ships pulled back. Do not force us to change our minds. The human fleet returned to its position.
Calm. Silent.
As if nothing had happened. Back in the assembly, no one spoke. The message was clear. Humanity did not want war. But they were not afraid of it. Arun looked toward the empty chair once more. It's not just a seat, he said quietly. The archivist looked at it too. No, he replied. It's a warning. And now, the entire galaxy was beginning to understand. The truth did not bring peace. It made everything worse. Across the galaxy, the story of the forgotten war spread fast. Old records were reopened. Hidden data was shared. The name humanity was no longer a myth. It was real, and it was back. Inside the Galactic Assembly, the leaders were divided. Some stood in silence, shaken by what they had learned. Others were angry,
Loud.
afraid. We cannot trust them, one leader shouted. They defeated us once, another added. And now they return with even more power. But not everyone agreed. They did not destroy us when they could, a calmer voice said. They left, another added. That means something. Or, it means they are waiting to finish what they started, someone argued. The hall filled with noise again. Fear had turned into tension. Arun stood at the edge, watching it all. They still don't understand, he said quietly. The archivist stood beside him. Fear makes understanding difficult, he replied. Arun crossed his arms. Humans said we didn't change. The archivist nodded. And right now they are correct. Far away in the Sol system, the human fleets continued to move.
Slow.
Organized.
Precise.
They did not rush toward the galaxy. They did not attack. But they did not hide anymore either. Instead, they spread out. Small groups of ships moved to different edges of known space. Watching. Waiting. They're positioning themselves, a coalition officer said. For what? Another asked. No one had a clear answer. Back in the assembly, a decision was forming. Not everyone trusted humanity's calm behavior. Some saw it as a threat, a hidden plan. A powerful faction stepped forward. They had lost much in the old war, and they had not forgotten. We must act now, their leader said, before they grow stronger. They are already stronger, someone replied. Then we strike before they decide to strike us, the leader said firmly. The room grew tense. Arun felt something was wrong. This will only make things worse, he said. The archivist nodded.
Yes.
But fear rarely chooses the wise path. Despite warnings, the faction prepared a fleet. Quietly, secretly. Their target was not Earth, not the main human fleet. It was a small human outpost at the edge of known space. A testing ground. A place with only a few ships. They think it will be easy, Arun said when he learned of it. They think they can win a small victory, the archivist added. Arun shook his head. They didn't learn anything from the past. In deep space, far from the Sol system, the attacking fleet moved into position. Weapons ready. Shields up. Target locked, an officer said. Fire on command, the fleet leader ordered. In front of them, the human outpost floated quietly. A few ships. A small station. No movement. They don't even see us, one pilot said. The leader raised his hand. Attack. A wave of energy burst forward. Weapons fired. Space lit up with power. The human outpost was hit. Back in the assembly, alarms sounded. They've engaged, someone shouted. Arun turned quickly to the screen. No, he whispered. In deep space, the attack continued. More fire. More power. Then, everything stopped. Not slowly. Not gradually. Instantly. The attacking fleet froze. Weapons shut down. Engines failed. Lights flickered. What's happening? An officer shouted. Systems not responding. We're losing control. The human ships moved. Not fast. Not aggressive.
Calm.
They spread out around the disabled fleet. Perfect positions. Then a signal appeared. You did not learn. The message echoed through every ship.
Cold. Clear.
Back in the assembly, silence fell again. Arun stared at the screen. They ended it in seconds. The archivist nodded slowly. Just like before. In space, the human ships did not fire. They did not destroy. They waited. Another message appeared. We show mercy again. The attacking fleet remained frozen. Helpless. Then, slowly, their systems returned. Weapons offline. Engines weak. But alive. They let them go, Arun said. Yes, the archivist replied. Again. The final message appeared before the human ships pulled back. Do not force us to change our minds. The human fleet returned to its position.
Calm. Silent.
As if nothing had happened. Back in the assembly, no one spoke. The message was clear. Humanity did not want war. But they were not afraid of it. Arun looked toward the empty chair once more. It's not just a seat, he said quietly. The archivist looked at it too. No, he replied. It's a warning. And now, the entire galaxy was beginning to understand. The galaxy had never been this quiet. Not in war. Not in peace. Not even in fear. This silence was different. It was the kind of silence that comes when something ancient returns and everyone knows they cannot ignore it anymore. Back in the Galactic Assembly, the Great Hall was full. But no one was arguing now. No one was shouting. No one was even moving much. Arun stood in the center, looking at the main screen. The last message from the human fleet still echoed in his mind. Remember this. They are not just fighting, Arun said quietly. They are teaching. The archivist stood beside him, arms folded.
Yes, he said.
And the lesson is not finished. At that moment, the entire assembly system lit up. A new signal. Stronger than before.
Clearer. Another message, someone said.
From Seoul? No, it's broader. The signal expanded. It reached every corner of the galaxy. Every system. Every station. Every ship. The screen in the assembly flickered. Then stabilized. A single human appeared on the display.
Calm. Still.
No armor. No weapon. Just a person. Gasps spread through the hall. That's a human. The human looked directly at the camera. Directly at the galaxy. Then they spoke. We have returned. The words were simple, but heavy. Arun felt his heart tighten. This is no longer just a warning, he said. The archivist nodded slowly. No, he replied. This is a declaration. The human continued speaking. We were here before your empires. The screen showed images. Ancient human cities. Early ships. Exploration.
Growth.
We saw your rise. Images changed. Galactic wars. Expanding alliances. Power struggles. We watched your fall. The screen showed destruction. Entire worlds fighting. Systems collapsing. Arun looked away for a moment. The truth was hard to face. The human spoke again. We chose to step back. The screen showed humans withdrawing. Leaving systems. Hiding their presence. Not because we were weak. The image paused. Then continued. But because you were not ready. The entire hall went silent. No one argued. No one interrupted. Because they knew it was true. The human took a small step closer to the camera. Now you are ready to listen. Arun clenched his fists. This is it, he whispered. The archivist nodded.
Yes.
The galaxy will never be the same after this. The human paused for a moment, then spoke again. We do not seek control. The screen showed human ships again, moving in formation. We do not seek power over you. Images of battles faded. Peaceful systems appeared. We seek order. The word appeared on the screen. Order. Not control. Not domination. Order. The human continued. This galaxy is unstable. The screen showed conflict after conflict. You have built yourselves on fear. Arun felt uneasy, but he could not deny it. The human voice remained calm. We will not destroy you.
A pause.
But we will not allow chaos. The message changed. From this moment, the screen darkened slightly. The galaxy will change. A long silence followed. Then the final words appeared. And you will decide. Everyone leaned forward. If you change with it. The message ended. The screen went dark. Silence filled the assembly. Again. But this silence was different. It was not confusion. It was not fear alone. It was understanding. Arun slowly turned to the archivist. They are giving us a choice, he said. The archivist nodded. Yes. And if we refuse? Arun asked. The archivist looked at the empty chair. Then they will act, he said. Arun followed his gaze. For a moment, the empty chair did not feel empty anymore. It felt like it was waiting. Waiting for a decision. Waiting for the galaxy to choose its future. For the first time in thousands of cycles, the galactic assembly was not loud. It was quiet. Very quiet. The message from humanity still echoed in every mind. You will decide if you change with it. Those words did not leave. They stayed. Leaders gathered again in the Great Hall. But this time, something was different. There was no arguing, no shouting, only thinking. Arun stood near the center, looking at the empty chair. It is time, he said quietly. The archivist stood beside him. Yes, he replied. They are waiting. In the distance, beyond the assembly, human fleets remained in position, silent, watching. No one spoke for a moment. Then one leader stepped forward. If they wanted to destroy us, he said, they already could have. Another leader nodded slowly. That is true. A third voice spoke. Then why are we still afraid? Silence followed. Because no one had a good answer. Arun stepped forward. Because we are used to fighting, he said. And they are not fighting us the way we expect. The leaders looked at him. They are not attacking, Arun continued. They are observing, teaching, controlling without chaos. The archivist nodded. That is what makes them dangerous. A leader frowned. Or, what makes them wise? The room grew tense again. But this time, the tension was different. Not anger, not panic, understanding. Then something unexpected happened. A signal arrived. From humanity. The screen activated again. But this time, it was not a warning, not a declaration. It was an invitation. Assembly protocol active. The leaders looked at each other. What does that mean? One asked. The archivist answered. It means, he said slowly, they're allowing us to meet them. Arun's eyes widened slightly. Meet them? Yes, the archivist replied. A new message appeared. Return to the assembly. Gasps spread across the hall. They are coming here? Someone asked. No, Arun said. They are asking us to come to them. The screen changed again. A path. Coordinates. A location deep in space. Not far. But not close either. The same location where the human fleet had been waiting. They want a meeting, a leader said. Not just a message, another added. Arun looked at the screen carefully. This is not a trap, he said. How do you know? Someone asked. Because they don't need one, Arun replied. Silence followed. The leaders began to talk again. But this time it was controlled.
Calm.
Careful. Some wanted to send a large fleet. To show strength. Others argued against it. We must not provoke them. Arun spoke again. If we send a fleet, he said, they will see it as fear. The room went quiet. If we go with weapons, he continued, they will respond with control. And if we go without? A leader asked. Arun looked at them. Then they will see, that we are ready to listen. The archivist smiled slightly. Very good. After long discussion, a decision was made. One delegation, small, unarmed, led by a single representative. The room grew quiet again. Who will go? Someone asked. No one spoke, until finally, Arun stepped forward. I will go, he said. Everyone turned to him. You, a leader asked. Why you? Arun looked at the empty chair. Because I am not afraid, he said. The archivist watched him carefully. And because, Arun continued, I understand what they are trying to show us. Silence followed. Then, slowly, the leaders nodded. You will represent us, the lead leader said. Arun took a slow breath. I will. Preparations began immediately. No weapons. No heavy fleet. Only a small ship. Simple.
Clean.
Peaceful. As the ship was prepared, Arun stood alone for a moment, thinking. This is not just a meeting, he said quietly. The archivist stood beside him. No, he replied. This is a turning point. Arun looked ahead. At the ship. At the stars beyond. At the unknown future waiting for him. Do you think they will accept us? Arun asked. The archivist did not answer quickly. Finally, he said, they will accept us.
He paused.
If we show them that we have learned. Arun nodded slowly. In that moment, something changed. Not just in the assembly. Not just in the galaxy. But in humanity's eyes. The empty seat was no longer empty. It was waiting to be filled. And soon, Arun would stand before the ones who claimed it. The small ship moved through space. Quiet. Simple. Unarmed. Inside it, Arun stood near the front, looking out at the stars. The journey felt long, even though it was short. His mind was full of thoughts. This was the moment. Behind him stood only a few members from the assembly. No soldiers. No weapons. Only observers. They are waiting, one of them said. Arun nodded. Yes. Far ahead, in the darkness of space, the human fleet came into view. Massive. Silent. Perfectly aligned. The ship approached slowly. No alarms. No warnings. Just quiet acceptance. Stay calm, Arun said to the others. We are not here to fight. The ship stopped at the edge of the human formation. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the human ships began to move. Not in attack. Not in fear. They opened a path. A clear route. Direct to the center. Arun's breath slowed. They are inviting us in, he said. The ship moved forward. Carefully. As it passed between the human ships, Arun looked out. Every ship was massive. Every system was ready. Yet, none of them showed aggression. They could end us in seconds, one of the assembly members whispered. Arun replied softly. Yes, but they choose not to. At the center of the formation stood the largest human ship. Simple. Strong. Silent. The ship docked. Arun stepped out first. The corridor inside was bright.
Clean. Calm.
He walked forward.
Slow.
Controlled. At the end of the corridor, a door opened. And there they stood. The humans. Not monsters. Not gods.
Just people.
Arun stopped. For a moment no one spoke. Then one of the humans stepped forward.
Calm.
Strong. Welcome, they said. Arun took a breath. We come on behalf of the Galactic Assembly. The human nodded. We know. Arun looked at them carefully. You said we would decide our future. Yes, the human replied. Then what happens now? Arun asked. The human looked at him directly. That depends on you. Silence filled the room. Arun felt the weight of the moment. Every choice, every mistake, every decision the galaxy had made led here. We are not your enemy, he said. The human replied calmly.
No.
Arun continued. And we do not want war. The human nodded. Then you are already different from the past. Arun looked down for a moment, then spoke again. We were wrong. The room grew quiet. The human did not interrupt. We forgot you, Arun said. We erased you. We ignored you. We failed.
His voice was steady, honest.
But we are ready to change. The humans studied him.
Carefully.
You speak truth, they said. Arun nodded. Yes. The human turned slightly, then spoke. Change is not spoken. They looked back at Arun. It is shown. Arun understood. Then show us, he said. The human paused, then slowly nodded. You will have your chance. Back in the assembly, the system displayed the meeting. Everyone watched, silent, waiting. The human turned again and made a final statement. Humanity does not bow. The words echoed. We do not bow to power. The galaxy listened. We do not bow to fear. Arun stood still. But the human continued. We stand with those who stand with us. A pause. Respect us. They looked directly at Arun. And we will respect you. Silence followed. Then the human said something that changed everything. Earth's seat in the galaxy was never taken. The words felt ancient. It was waiting. Arun looked back at the empty chair in his mind. Now he understood. And now, he asked. The human smiled slightly. Now it is filled. Ending scene. The assembly watched in silence as the meeting ended. Arun returned to his ship. He did not look back, because he knew the galaxy was no longer the same. The empty seat was no longer empty, and humanity would never bow again. But they would also never rule blindly. They would stand as equals, as guardians, as something the galaxy had forgotten and now remembered.